This is going to be just a quick little video going over integrals. Basically some things you need to know about integrals as we're getting started taking them. So, what is an integral? Basically an integral are antiderivatives, which is going over taking an integral is basically undoing a derivative. So you have a function f of x equals x squared, and of course when you take the derivative you just use the power rule, and f prime of x, or the derivative of f of x, is just 2x. So integrals go over how to go from here back up to there. So it's, since on this side you're taking the derivative, on this side you're doing the antiderivative. Or the integral. So now we're just going to go over like a few rules for it. Alright, so over here on the left you'll see that we're wanting to take the integral of 2x with respect to x. And over here on the right you can see that we had the derivative of f prime of x is equal to 2x, and our original function was f of x equals x squared. So one way to kind of do this is, since over here on the left, starting from our original to go to our derivative, we just use the power rule, which was we pulled down the 2 in front of the x, so that became 2x squared minus 1, which just makes it a regular x, because x to the 1 is just x, and that's times the derivative of x, which the derivative of x is just 1. So as far as the integral, since we have a constant out front, or times x, we can pull the constant out, which just leaves us with x dx. Okay, so kind of like the power rule, how you can pull the power down and subtract 1. Well, with the integral, say, just a quick little rule for you, you're going to have 1 over n plus 1 of x to the n plus 1, and so that's basically the steps that we're going to do to take the integral. And so back over here to the left, since we have already pulled out the 2 and set it outside the integral, x to the 1 is, the number 1 is going to be our n. So we do 1 over our n, which was 1, plus 1, times x to the n, which was 1, plus 1, and so that is going to give us our 2, because we can't forget the 2, times 1 over 2, because 1 plus 1 is 2, x to the n, which was 1 plus 1, gives us our squared. And so when you multiply that, you get 2 over 2 x squared, and of course that's just going to become 1, and so that is going to be just x squared. But one thing we have to remember with integrals, whenever you just come up with something, so long as it is an indefinite integral, you're always going to have a constant. And that's because, the constant, when you take the derivative of a constant, it's just 0. So that could be, if our original was x squared plus, 10,000. It doesn't matter what our constant out here is, because that is, the derivative of a whole number is just always going to be 0. So that comes out when you take the derivative. You're going to pull down your 2 out front, and you're going to subtract 1 from the exponent, which would just be 1, plus 0. And so you can see that is our derivative right here of x x squared plus anything is going to be just 2x. So that's why whenever you take the integral, you're always going to have plus c, which is some constant. So there's just one thing to keep in mind while taking integrals, and it does get a lot more complicated, and I'll put up another video going over that.